If you wake up tired and feel your energy levels dragging throughout the day, you're not alone. In some remote corners of the world, people maintain their vitality well into their 90s and even 100s. Some researchers believe that a simple morning ritual practiced by these communities might play a role in their longevity. Research shows that nearly 70% of adults over 50 report feeling fatigued when they wake up, even after a full night's sleep. This morning fatigue has become so common that many consider it an inevitable part of aging. Yet in certain regions known as blue zones, areas where people routinely live extraordinarily long lives, morning fatigue isn't part of their experience. In fact, many residents maintain remarkable energy and clarity well into their 10th decade and beyond. If this sounds interesting to you, type energy in the comments. You might be surprised how many people share the same morning struggles. One particular village nestled in the mountains has gained attention from longevity researchers worldwide. With an average age of 97 and almost no instances of common age-related conditions, this community has become a living laboratory for those studying healthy aging. When researchers first visited this region, they expected to find sophisticated health practices or unique genetic advantages. Instead, they discovered something much simpler, a consistent morning ritual that takes just 60 seconds to perform, yet appears to set the stage for vibrant health throughout the day and potentially throughout life. I'm Dr. Rachel Thompson, and for over 25 years, I've studied preventive health approaches in longevity communities worldwide. Today I'll share a morning ritual that researchers have observed in one of the world's longest living villages, a practice that might help support your vitality as you age. Before we explore this ritual, I'd like to ask you to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. Each week, we share evidence-based approaches to healthy aging focused on practical, accessible strategies. If you're interested in simple ways to potentially support your energy levels, you won't want to miss our upcoming videos. This morning ritual is fascinating not just for its simplicity, but for what it tells us about the fundamental principles of vitality. When I first learned about it, I couldn't believe something so straightforward could potentially make such a difference. Let's begin by understanding why the first moments after waking might be particularly important for setting the tone of your entire day. During sleep, your body undergoes important recovery processes. The transition from sleep to wakefulness represents a critical shift in your physiology, one that longevity researchers believe may influence how well your body functions throughout the day. In modern life, most of us abruptly transition from horizontal sleep to vertical activity. We jolt awake to alarms, immediately check our phones, or jump straight into our day's responsibilities. This abrupt transition creates a stress response in the body, potentially setting up a cascade of tension and inflammation that can affect energy levels. In contrast, the morning ritual practiced in this long-living village creates a gentler transition that may help optimize the body's natural awakening processes, potentially supporting circulation, joint mobility, and nervous system balance right from the start of the day. The 60-second ritual I'm about to share targets 3 key systems that appear particularly important for maintaining energy and vitality as we age: circulation, joint mobility, and nervous system regulation. What makes this ritual so remarkable is its simplicity. It requires no special equipment, can be performed by people of all fitness levels, and takes just 1 minute to complete. This ritual should be performed immediately upon waking, before getting out of bed, ideally while still lying on your back. The movement sequence is gentle yet comprehensive, potentially helping prepare your body for the day ahead. First component: gentle awakening stretch. The ritual begins with what I call the gentle awakening stretch. While still lying on your back, extend your arms overhead and your legs long, creating a full body stretch. Inhale deeply as you reach your fingertips toward the headboard and your toes toward the foot of the bed. Hold this stretched position for 5 to 10 seconds while taking a deep breath. Then exhale completely as you release the stretch, letting your arms and legs relax. This simple stretching movement helps increase blood flow throughout the body after the relative immobility of sleep. What's interesting is that researchers have observed that older residents in this long-living village naturally perform this stretching movement every morning upon waking, much like a cat or dog might stretch after resting. This instinctive movement appears to help prepare their bodies for the day's activities. The stretching component activates multiple physiological systems simultaneously. As you extend your limbs, muscle fibers elongate, potentially improving their elasticity and range of motion. This gentle stretching may also stimulate proprioceptors, specialized sensory receptors in your muscles and joints that communicate position information to your brain. This activation helps recalibrate your body's position sense after hours of relative immobility during sleep. Additionally, this full-body stretch may help stimulate the lymphatic system, which, unlike the circulatory system, lacks a central pump like the heart. Movement and muscle contraction help propel lymph fluid through the body, potentially supporting immune function and fluid balance right from the start of your day. Margaret, a 72-year-old who incorporated this morning stretching into her routine, noticed a difference in her morning mobility. Before, my body felt stiff when I first got out of bed, especially my shoulders and lower back. After adding this simple stretch for just a few weeks, I found that I could move more easily right from the start of my day. It's such a small thing, but it seems to make a real difference. What surprised Margaret most was how this simple practice seemed to influence her mindset for the day ahead. There's something about starting with this intentional movement that helps me feel more present and appreciative. I find myself approaching the day with more patience and optimism. For those with limited mobility or specific health conditions, this stretching component can be modified. Even a partial stretch, moving within your comfortable range, may provide benefits. The key is the intentional elongation of the body and the deep breath that accompanies it, not the intensity or range of the stretch itself. Second component: circular joint movements. The second component of the ritual involves gentle circular movements of major joints. Still lying in bed, you'll move through a sequence of joint rotations that may help maintain mobility and lubricate the joints with synovial fluid. Begin with your wrists, making 5 small circles in each direction. Then move to your ankles, again making 5 circles in each direction. Next, with knees slightly bent, make 5 gentle hip circles in each direction. Finally, roll your shoulders forward 5 times, then backward 5 times. These circular movements take approximately 30 seconds total, and focus on the joints that often experience morning stiffness. The gentle rotation may help distribute synovial fluid throughout the joint capsules, potentially supporting ease of movement as you start your day. In the Long Living Village, residents instinctively perform these circular movements before rising from bed. Researchers noted that even centenarians in the community maintain remarkable joint mobility, rarely experiencing the stiffness that many consider inevitable with age. The circular movements may be particularly beneficial because they move the joints through their full range of motion in a gentle, non-stressful way. Unlike more demanding exercises, these rotational movements can be performed without strain, making them accessible even for those with significant joint limitations. From a physiological perspective, these movements may help nourish the articular cartilage, the smooth tissue that covers the ends of bones where they form joints. Unlike many body tissues, cartilage lacks direct blood supply, and instead receives nutrients through the movement of synovial fluid. The gentle rotational movements may help distribute this fluid, potentially supporting cartilage health. Additionally, these circular movements may help activate the proprioceptive system around each joint, potentially improving body awareness and coordination as you begin your day. This improved proprioception might contribute to better balance and reduced fall risk, a significant concern for many older adults. William, a 78-year-old who had been dealing with morning joint discomfort, found this part of the ritual particularly helpful. I was skeptical that such simple movements could make a difference, but after about 2 weeks of doing these gentle rotations every morning, I noticed I wasn't experiencing the usual stiffness in my knees and shoulders. Getting going in the morning became notably easier. What surprised William most was how these small movements seemed to have cumulative benefits over time. It wasn't an overnight miracle, but the improvement was steady and meaningful. Now, if I skip my morning routine for a day or two when traveling, I definitely noticed the difference. For those with significant joint limitations, these movements can be modified to work within your comfortable range. Even small, partial circles may provide benefits. If certain joints are particularly sensitive, you might begin with fewer repetitions and gradually increase as comfort allows. The key is the gentle, rhythmic movement rather than the size or number of circles. How does this circular joint movement practice sound to you? Does it seem like something you could easily incorporate into your morning? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Now, while the first two components are helpful, the third part of this ritual appears to be the one that residents of this long-living village consider most essential. This final component might seem unusual at first, but researchers have observed potentially significant benefits associated with this practice. Third component: intentional breathing pattern. The final 20 seconds of the ritual focuses on a specific breathing pattern that appears to help activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode that supports recovery and regeneration. Still lying comfortably in bed, place one hand on your abdomen. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose for a count of 4, feeling your abdomen rise. Hold the breath gently for a count of 2. Then exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 6, feeling your abdomen fall. Repeat this breathing pattern 3 times, focusing on making the exhale longer than the inhale. This breathing ratio may help shift your nervous system into a balanced state, potentially reducing stress hormones and promoting a sense of calm alertness to begin your day. What researchers found particularly interesting is that in this long-living village, this intentional breathing practice isn't taught formally. It appears to be an intuitive part of their morning ritual, passed down through generations and practiced consistently every morning. The physiological effects of this specific breathing pattern may be particularly significant. The extended exhale phase appears to stimulate the vagus nerve, a key component of the parasympathetic nervous system that influences heart rate, digestion, and immune function. This vagal stimulation may help counterbalance the natural spike in stress hormones that typically occurs upon waking, potentially creating a more balanced physiological state to begin the day. Additionally, this breathing pattern may help optimize oxygen and carbon dioxide balance in the blood. While we often focus on oxygen intake, proper carbon dioxide levels are equally important for optimal cellular function and blood flow. The brief breath hold and extended exhale may help maintain healthy carbon dioxide levels, potentially supporting efficient oxygen delivery to tissues. Beyond these physiological effects, this mindful breathing practice may also help set a tone of intentionality for the day ahead. Rather than immediately engaging with external demands, these few moments of internal focus may help create a sense of centeredness that influences how you approach the day's activities and challenges. James, a 69-year-old with a history of stress-related health challenges, found this breathing component transformative. I've tried many stress management techniques over the years, but there's something about doing this specific breathing pattern first thing in the morning that seems especially effective. I've noticed I feel more centered throughout the day and don't get as easily flustered by the usual stressors. What James found particularly valuable was how this brief practice seemed to influence his response to stress throughout the day. It's almost like it creates a template for how to respond when things get hectic. I find myself naturally returning to this breathing pattern during challenging moments, and it helps me regain perspective quickly. For those who find it difficult to maintain focus during breathing practices, placing a hand on your abdomen can provide helpful sensory feedback. Feeling the rise and fall of your abdomen can make it easier to stay engaged with the practice and ensure you're breathing deeply into your diaphragm rather than taking shallow chest breaths. The combination of these 3 simple components, the full body stretch, circular joint movements, and intentional breathing pattern, creates a morning ritual that takes just 60 seconds yet may help support vital physiological functions that tend to decline with age. Does this breathing pattern make sense to you? If you understood how to perform this technique, write "understood" in the comments below. Now, I want to share what might be the most important factor for success with this morning ritual. Something the residents of this long-living village do without even thinking about it. The key factor appears to be consistency. In the long-living village, this morning ritual isn't occasional or sporadic. It's performed every single day, regardless of circumstances. This daily practice has become so ingrained that residents perform it automatically upon waking, much like brushing teeth has become automatic in our culture. Research on habit formation suggests that practices performed immediately upon waking tend to become more firmly established than those attempted later in the day. By performing this ritual while still in bed, before the day's distractions begin, you may be more likely to maintain consistency. Consistency matters because many of the potential benefits appear to be cumulative rather than immediate. While you might notice some improvements in how you feel right away, the more significant effects likely develop through the repeated performance of these movements over time. It's a bit like compound interest, small daily investments potentially yielding substantial returns over months and years. To support consistency, many people find it helpful to use what behavioral scientists call habit stacking, attaching a new habit to an existing one. Since waking up is already a consistent daily event, linking this ritual directly to the moment of waking may help establish it as an automatic practice. Some people find it helpful to set a specific intention before going to sleep the night before. A simple mental note like, "When I wake up tomorrow, I'll do my 60-second ritual," can help prime your brain to remember the practice upon waking. Many people notice subtle improvements within the first week of daily practice, but the potentially more significant benefits appear to develop over months and years of consistent implementation. This aligns with what researchers observe in the long-living village, where these practices have been performed daily for decades. While this morning ritual may support energy and mobility, it's important to note that it represents just one aspect of the lifestyle observed in long-living communities. Other factors like nutrition, social connection, purposeful activity, and stress management all appear to play important roles in their remarkable longevity and vitality. What's particularly interesting is how these various lifestyle factors might work synergistically. Some researchers suggest that this morning ritual may work in part because it sets a positive tone for these other health behaviors throughout the day. By starting with intentional movement and breathing, residents of the long-living village might be priming themselves for more mindful choices in other aspects of their daily lives. For example, the increased body awareness that comes from the morning ritual might influence how they eat, potentially promoting more intuitive, attentive eating patterns. Similarly, the sense of centeredness created by the breathing practice might support more meaningful social connections and a greater appreciation for daily activities. Elizabeth, an 81-year-old who incorporated this ritual into her mornings, noted how it seemed to influence other aspects of her day. "I've found that starting my day this way makes me more likely to take short movement breaks throughout the day. It's like it reminds my body how good it feels to move, so I naturally want to incorporate more movement into my routine." For those who want to try this ritual, I recommend starting tomorrow morning. Set an intention before going to sleep that you'll perform these movements upon waking. You might even place a reminder note on your bedside table for the first few days until the practice becomes more automatic. It can also be helpful to track your experience in a simple way. Some people find that noting energy levels, morning stiffness, or general well-being on a scale of 1 to 10 each day helps them recognize patterns and improvements that might otherwise go unnoticed. This kind of tracking can provide motivation to continue the practice, especially during the early weeks when the habit is still forming. Remember that while these movements are generally gentle and safe for most people, it's always wise to consult with your healthcare provider before beginning any new health practice, especially if you have existing health conditions or mobility limitations. The movements can be modified to accommodate various physical limitations while still maintaining the core principles of the practice. For those with limited mobility, even visualizing these movements may provide some benefit. Research on motor imagery suggests that mentally rehearsing movements activates many of the same neural pathways as physically performing them, potentially offering some of the same benefits when physical movement is limited. Let's summarize the 60-second morning ritual observed in one of the world's longest living villages. Gentle awakening stretch. 10 seconds extend arms overhead and legs long, creating a full body stretch while taking a deep breath, then release. Circular joint movements. 30 seconds perform gentle rotations of wrists, ankles, hips, and shoulders, making 5 circles in each direction for each joint. Intentional breathing pattern. 20 seconds practice a 4-2-6 breathing pattern. Inhale for 4, hold for 2, exhale for 6, 3 times, focusing on making the exhale longer than the inhale. This simple ritual, performed consistently each morning before rising from bed, appears to be associated with the remarkable energy and mobility observed among residents in one of the world's longest living communities. While no single practice can guarantee longevity, this ritual represents a practical way to potentially support your body's natural vitality as you age. The beauty of this approach lies in its simplicity and accessibility. It requires no special equipment, costs nothing to implement, and can be performed by people at nearly any fitness level. What's particularly valuable about this ritual is how it honors the body's natural transition from sleep to wakefulness. Rather than forcing an abrupt shift, it creates a gentle bridge between these physiological states, potentially allowing your body's systems to come online in a more balanced, harmonious way. In our modern world of constant stimulation and demands, these simple moments of intentional movement and breath might be even more valuable than they were for previous generations. They offer a rare opportunity to begin the day on your own terms, connecting with your body before engaging with external pressures and technology. If you found this information valuable, please consider sharing this video with friends and family who might benefit. Many people struggle with morning fatigue and decreasing energy, unaware that such a simple practice might potentially help. Subscribe to our channel for more evidence-based approaches to healthy aging, and tap the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Each week, we explore different aspects of well-being for older adults, always focused on practical, accessible strategies. And please, leave a comment below sharing your own experiences with morning energy or any questions you might have. I read every comment and value your input. Your feedback helps guide the topics we address in future videos. Thank you for joining me today. I wish you vibrant health and energy in the years ahead. Until next time, take good care of yourself.